Hi, Taurus, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your March 2021 full moon reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading and clear the energy space, once again, a reminder not to be scammed by anybody in the comment box pretending to be me, asking you if you would like a reading. This person is not me. I will not be soliciting you for anything. Do not be scammed. All right, with that said, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. All right. Let's let the bowls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Excuse me. Taurus. How will Taurus be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Taurus be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Taurus be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Taurus be affected by the March 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Ooh, okay. This one with one bonus card. Fantastic. All right. And now let's see our chakra energy for this time. How will Taurus be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Taurus be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Taurus be affected by the March 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. All right, just this one right here. Awesome. And we'll get to that in just a moment. And we're also going to see what guidance we need. What guidance does Taurus need for the March 2021 full moon? What guidance does Taurus need for the March 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show us clearly. Guide this reading and show us clearly. Fantastic. Okay. Perfect. So before we get into everything that this moon has to offer, it's a very, very intense moon. We're going to and we're going to talk about that here, see the chakra energy, and of course the guidance card. We're going to also see what the tarot, of course, has to say. So the left-hand side is the inner self. The middle is the heart, the emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. And of course, the one bonus card. So let's see. We have the Six of Pentacles, the Six of Wands. The repeat of the number 6 does show that this is a very caring, nurturing time for you. And that plays into the fact that this is a full moon in Libra. So we have the Ace of Cups and the Two of Cups, all very much playing into the Libra energy really quite beautifully. The Ace of Cups is, of course, a gift of healing. The Two of Cups is unity and coming together. Then we have the Eight of Swords. Okay, things kind of turn a bit, most definitely. And we have the Knight of Pentacles, because we're being called here to be a knight, to be a defender. We're represented by Pentacles in the minor arcana and by the Hierophant in the major arcana. So there's something emotionally that has us stuck, that we are called to fight against. We have the Two of Swords. The repeat of the number 2 does show this connection with spirit, but it also is showing here that there are different roads that start to open up than the ones that we thought. So there is kind of like a box that we have put ourselves in ourselves. So that's, yeah. And then we have the moon shining through, which represents, of course, Pisces energy. February 19th to March 20th is that time frame. But this is also a sense of the moon really having a powerful say in our emotions during this time and what's crowning us. And also the fact that with the Two of Swords, we're starting to see things differently, and it's calling us to be a warrior. Now, we'll see why in just a moment, because it's really quite cool. Then we are crowned here by the Hierophant in the public arena. So Taurus, we're crowned by the very essence of ourselves in the public arena. Then we have Temperance, and that's Sagittarius energy coming forward. Excuse me. The time frame, November 23rd to December 21st. We have the Five of Wands and the Tower. So we have chaos and then the Tower, which is things, yeah, it's divinity pushing us out of our comfort zone, which is going to be very real. It's going to be very intense, or it has been very intense, and it has caused a lot of the conflict within ourselves. And we're really seeing us move away from the conflict and the hurts and the pains, and we're facing them dead in the eye. And that's super cool. It moves us then with the bonus card of the Four of Cups, kind of looking over the whole situation. And the Four of Cups is a gift that doesn't feel like a gift that divinity is giving us. And that's what this time is. Because, you see, we have the full moon in Libra, and we have the sun in Aries. So what does the moon do? The moon, of course, reflects the sun's light. So Aries and Libra are exact opposites. You know, they polarize each other. Aries wants us to look after ourselves, right? The sun wants us to look after ourselves. Libra wants us to look after everybody else. And so during this time, we have this bit of a battle going on, and it makes us the most astounding warrior, because we know our limits. We are braver than usual, but we also look at everyone and kind of see the humanity within them. And that's really beautiful. That's a beautiful place that the heart is coming from right here. Now, with this full moon, at the time of this full moon, we have Venus, the Sun, and Chiron all aligned, and they're all aligned in Aries. So Chiron is us being the wounded warrior, and us knowing our wounds astoundingly well. So our wounds come up, and Venus looks at our wounds and says, I can heal this. Now, Venus also rules Libra. So we're surrendering to the divine power, which is what the moon has us do. The full moon has us surrender to divine power and has us, gain our power through that surrendering, through that kind of light bulb moment, through that illumination of self and desires and where we really want to be. And Libra focuses on love, the love of people, the love of self, the love of this world. But we have to be very mindful not to let that love kind of spill over into self-sacrificing. And that's going to be especially important for you, Taurus, because we can be so self-sacrificing. We can give so much up and say, okay, well, as long as I have this end goal in mind. And we're going to see here that we're really kind of battling a lot of things, a lot of trials and tribulations and angers and upsets and, hurdles that have been put in our way, we're going to be battling them now in a very real way, a very intense way. And Libra says a win-win outcome is forecast. Yes, because Libra balances everything. Libra is like, okay, let's make everything harmonious. Let's look at everything. Let's bring the peace. And during this time, we're going to kind of be fighting against that just a bit. It's like, I don't necessarily want things to be as balanced. Okay, I kind of want to cause a little bit of chaos, and that's what divinity is saying right now. It's kind of like you're going to want to cause a bit of chaos. There's going to want to be a bit of a sense of seeing the balance for the individual and looking at the chaotic world and saying, no, I'm not going to be ensnared in that. And there's going to be a sense of kind of like going against the grain. And that's going to be very liberating for a lot of Taurians here, because it's kind of like always keep your head down, like keep on working, keep on going, keep on fighting. And that's great. But there's going to be a sense here of like, no, I don't want to do that right now. And the power of this moon is also going to have us, seeing ourselves just differently, because again, Libra is ruled by Venus, and this is putting us in alignment with resolving conflict. And the conflict is coming up with Chiron and with the moon, all being in alignment at this, not the moon, Chiron, the sun, and Venus being at alignment at this time, and really highlighting the emotional issues that we have, the emotional hurts and pains and disappointments. And this brings us to Mercury and Neptune being in Pisces. And this is us getting out of our own heads and saying, I need to forgive. I need to break the ancestral ties. I need to heal in a very powerful and profound way. The moon is going to also be in a grand trine, there we go, that's the word, with Saturn and Mars. And this brings great protection and harmony and ease. So this is the time where we start to see what we need done. And this is a time where we all have a little bit of a lucky star with us, a little bit of a blessing with us. Now, both Mars and Saturn are intense planets, and they give us determination, motivation, and staying power, with us crowned with the very essence of Taurus in the public arena. Our staying power is going to be amplified threefold, tenfold, intensely during this time. And so what we want to do is we want to focus on finding that balance, having that balance, but also not giving up the self to obtain what is so vital to us. Now, the four signs that are most affected by this moon, okay, and wherever you have these in your natal chart, this part of you will kind of come out a bit more, is Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. All right, so it's not going to be Taurus exactly, but wherever you have these elements, these signs within your natal chart, those signs are going to be a bit more affected by this moon than other parts of us. So just be mindful of that. Now, on the 12th of April, we have the new moon in Aries. And the new moon in Aries, of course, brings beginning. And we also have the sun in Aries. So this really amplifies it. There is a sense of doing. There is a sense of needing. There is a sense of being the warrior. We already have that tendency with the Knight of Pentacles to be that warrior, to go out, to get what needs to be done. And this says a new start is coming. Beginnings are being looked at. We're going through a transitional phase, and the new moon brings a transitional phase, but it also brings new hope, new ideas, kind of like wiping the slate clean. And it says here, it's time to take action. And it is. It's time to take action, the bull by the horns, really looking at things, being focused, being determined. It opens up doors. It leads us to the full moon in Scorpio, which is on the 27th of April. And it says it's time to release negativity. So it's kind of like we're fighting these battles. We're looking at the alligators that we have, to wrestle. We're really taking action, because in the end, we're releasing so much negativity. We're releasing so much of what's been holding us back. Now, the spirit animal message, the spirit animals that are watching over us in March and in April. Okay, so we have April coming, but just for that little bit in March, the wolf spirit and the whale spirit. The whale spirit says, trust in the great mysteries. We're not supposed to know it all. We're just not. There's a mystery to life that is supposed to be enjoyed. It's supposed to be kind of riddled out. It's supposed to be withstood and, fortified against. And then we have the wolf, which says, turn knowledge into wisdom. And that's what we're going to be doing. And that's what we are doing. That's the whole point of growing, is to take the knowledge that we learn and turn it into the wisdom that we live by. So here during this time, with the wolf spirit, we have sharpened intellect and a deep connection with what we want and where we're headed. There's also a deep need for freedom and to follow our instincts. And so as we do this, we start to see where we are in life, like claim our space more. And this can be that we see in the hierarchy of people and power and life in general, we start to see our place. And we might look at it and say, well, I don't want to end up there, or I don't want to stay here forever. And that's fair. But we start to see where it is that we are. And instead of being rash about anything, we start to be very calculating, very cunning about how we start moving forward. Excuse me. And that's in a very powerful way. We're taking our power and we're looking at how we progress ourselves, not in a negative, angry way, but in a, like, I didn't know this about me, or I didn't know I could utilize these talents, but because our knowledge is turning into wisdom, we're seeing that we can more and more now. The whale spirit says, trust in the great mysteries, because the whale spirit is the great record keeper of the earth. It's trusting in our vibrational energy. It's trusting in our spirit, in our connection, in what we desire, in our emotional power, in our inner voice. And it's really letting ourselves connect with that energy and saying, where is it that I want to be in the hierarchy of this world? Like, how is it that I want to elevate my vibrational energy to my truth, to what I desire, to what I need? And it moves us to the spirit animals of April, which are the hawk and the wolf. So again, we're trusting in our wisdom, we're trusting in our knowledge. And the hawk spirit says, let spirit be our guide. Because spirit sees clearer and further than we could ever. Also, the hawk is the messenger spirit of the world. And so when the messages starts coming forward, we have power, we have focus, we have clear vision, we have increased spiritual awakening and awareness. And it's like, oh, that's it, which helps sharpen our intellect, which helps look at our knowledge, which helps us morph that into our wisdom. It leads us then to our chakra message, which is self-mastery, which makes perfect sense with everything that this moon has to bring, especially with this moon being so focused on beauty. A lot of people don't understand that as a Taurian, we're so focused on beauty. It is intrinsically important to us. Now, how we interpret beauty and how somebody else interprets beauty is completely up to them. But here, there is this great power to embrace this beauty and to call this beauty forward. And in the self-mastery, there's going to be a great need to have beauty in life. And I know that that might sound incongruous with self-mastery and the solar plexus chakra, but there is something beautiful to listening to your gut and listening to your instincts and really being in tune with the body and understanding the message, the desire to move forward. Because there's a sense here of listening to the self in such a way that doors start to open, that, power comes and that insight is understood. And it leads us to our guidance message, which is spiritual. We have this beautiful connection to the moon, to its ideas, and it opens up a wave of spiritual understanding, of diving into what really needs to be done, of looking at the hurts and the pains that have held us back, looking at the doubts and the fears that have crept forward, and saying, there's more here. There's more here. And there gets to be it's like a golden tinge or a silvery tinge to the world. There gets to be something beautiful to it. It gets to start shining, and it gets to be, it gets to be lovely. And it brings us in a very powerful way to the Six of Pentacles, to saying, I need things to be balanced. I can't, this is talking about the Libra full moon need for balance. And what comes forward is in the public arena, we call for that balance, and we can demand it really kind of fiercely and single-mindedly. But in our inner selves, where we see that people need us, or we see that, it's like people are more vulnerable and we're more vulnerable to them, all right? we're going to let things slide. We're going to say, oh, it doesn't need to be balanced. It does. It absolutely positively does. And so here with the Six of Pentacles, we're looking at the public world and saying, okay, things need to be balanced there. I understand that. But we need to also look at our inner world and say things need to be balanced here. There's no more giving and giving and giving, and nobody giving back in return. And there's no more taking and taking and not giving anything back in return. We have to see it both ways, right? Both ways the pendulum swings. And so here we start to look at things and say, all right, there needs to be a balance. There needs to be a calling on this energy. There needs to be a centering of the self. There needs to be a power and an insight and an idea and a force that moves me forward quite extraordinarily. And so here there is a sense of really calling on a need for sacred balance, a need for clear and defined boundaries, a need for things falling into an alignment, okay, into a harmony that we've been letting slip. And it's because it's either, there's something about like too self-indulgent. It could be with our kids, you know, kind of sitting there and saying, oh, well, you know, times are really hard. I can be more indulgent. Or we can even see this with our pets. Like we're just letting things slip a little bit because it's like, oh, well, it doesn't matter. And we're going to find out that it does matter. We just need that balance. It's going to be so important. And it's going to be with our partners. It's going to be with our friends. There's going to be a point where we're sitting there and we're like, well, this isn't fair. And, you know, the person that we're talking to is going to be like, well, I got to do this before, you know, and you didn't mind. What the heck is wrong about now? And it just is. It's just going to rub us the wrong way. Things need to be fair. Things need to be balanced. And people are going to have this sense of things needing to be balanced for them. But they're going to forget that things need to be balanced for everybody. So here when we're trying to work this out and when we're claiming, you know, kind of our battlegrounds and saying, you know, this is what's really important to me and this is what isn't, and we need to move forward afterwards, they might get a little bit confused, but also it's going to be very liberating. It is. It really is. It's like, okay, these are the ground rules. It's kind of like house rules start coming into play. And then it leads us to the Six of Wands. It leads us to a place of celebration. It leads us to a place of seeing ourselves as successful and really looking at ourselves. And instead of saying, wow, I just always had to be giving, I always had to be drained, it's like, no, now I get to celebrate myself. Things get to come together. I get to see new ideas. I get to understand things a little bit more intensely and beautifully and powerfully. And it connects us with the Ace of Cups that is washing away a lot of the hurts and the pains and the disappointments that we've been carrying for so long. And that's another point of when Chiron and Venus come together with Aries. It's like, I don't get to carry this hurt and this guilt anymore. And as Mercury and Neptune come together in Pisces, it's like, I get to heal. I get to heal everything that has been weighing me down and holding me back and keeping me denying myself. And it just, the waters start washing away things. And we're going to find this to be a time where we really find comfort in taking showers or baths or, you know, being by the water in one way or another. And I mean, if we can add Epsom salt to the bath, that would be brilliant. But there's a sense here of really letting things flow, really letting things become, kind of washing away a lot of the doubt, a lot of the darkness within. It's kind of like, I don't know how else to describe it, but it's like, you know, when the world gets kind of just a little bit gray, and it's because spiritually we're sad or we're overwhelmed or we could be in a bit of a depression or we're not artistically expressing ourselves the way that we should be, and the world becomes just tinged with gray, just the outlines start to become a bit gray. And here it's washing away the grayness, and it's saying, look at the vibrance, look at the energy, look at the essence of things, and start to be inspired again. Start to find the voice, start to find the emotional expression. And it leads us to the Two of Cups. It leads us to a place of unity, to a place of coming together, insights, ideas, you know, a sense of balance being restored, and a sense of, you know, power coming back to us. And there's this purpose that leads us forward. And it's all about the sharing of energy. It's all about the sharing of ideas. So we can find that we really take great joy in mentoring other people and in helping to guide other people forward, being honest and forthright with the world and ourselves. This then leads us to our hearts, and it's such a contrast with the Eight of Swords. It's like our heart, it's like, oh my gosh, no. And it's because we're rooted in the Tower, in the public arena. We've been through so much. There's been so much chaos. There's been divinity pushing us out of our comfort zone and saying, just go for it. And us looking at it and being like, what the heck? Like, what do I do now? And the Eight of Swords is emotionally, okay, right now we're going to feel stuck. We're going to feel overwhelmed. We're going to think, I can't do this. I can't move forward this way. I don't know what I want. And we're going to make barriers all around ourselves that say, I can't. And gosh, what was it? It was either Plato or Aristotle, and I'm not sure if it was either one of them. But there is an old quote that says, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. And I don't remember who said it, but that's kind of the sentiment here. Whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. And you will find that either we build the walls around us, and we build the doubts and the fears, and we let them kind of trap us in. Or we say, yes, I can. And I will. And it might not be right away. We might have to build up to it. So, don't be harsh on yourself if it isn't happening like yesterday. But let things develop. Let things become. Look at the doubts and the fears and the angers and the upsets and everything that has been holding us back and say, okay, I see it. I see it. I understand it. And I'm not going to be defined by it. I'm not going to have to live by this. I can free myself from this cage. And I am. Mentally, I am freeing myself from this cage. And I'm empowering myself. And so the mind releasing the heart in a very powerful way. And it's not that we're moving forward either solely in logic or solely in emotion, but it's that we're moving forward in powerful understanding of self and desire and where it is that we want to be. And looking at the ways that we were held back. And that can bring forward a lot of anger, a lot of sense of, well, that wasn't right and that wasn't fair. No, a lot of things in life aren't right and they aren't fair. And we can't change it. It's part of how we learn. We don't learn by everything being softly like, cotton candy and clouds. Life is hard. And so when things aren't fair and when life hits us and hurts us and we make walls around ourselves and then we break down those walls, that's because we're strong enough to kind of step out and say, I can face this again. I can do this. And that leads us to the Knight of Pentacles. That leads us to breaking down this wall and finding that we're a warrior where we thought we weren't. There's this old saying, better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war, right? And so what that means is that it's better to know how to fight and never have to than not know how to fight and have to. And so what we're seeing here is this powerful determination that I am claiming what I need, what I want, and who I am. We might find ourselves a bit on our high horse at times, but that's okay. That's okay because we're going to find that passions run high, that we're determined, that we're slowly and steadily, because the Knight of Pentacles slowly and steadily moves, methodically plans, okay? That we start to see ourselves moving forward in a very distinct direction. And we start to see things changing, things becoming more than what we expected. We're becoming more than what we expected. We can kind of have our armor on a bit too tightly, not in a discomforting sort of way, but in a way that like we have too much of it on. So we might be a little bit hardened to things just because we're coming out of a time that had us so scared, so overwhelmed, doubting, fearing, questioning everything. So the armor's on. And that's not a bad thing. And we might be a little bit snippy at times because, knights are supposed to attack and be ready for attack. So hypervigilance can definitely be a thing. But there is also going to be this need of insight and understanding and connection and that kind of old chivalric tale of, the knight protecting what's intrinsically important to them. That's going to be a theme of ours during this time. It's like, I need to protect this. I need to secure this. This needs to move forward. Why? Because it becomes sacred to us. It becomes what we're fighting for. And it leads us then to the Two of Swords. It's like, because we've broken down these barriers quite powerfully and distinctly, we're starting to see the two avenues that we thought were open to us branching out. We're starting to see that there's more to this than what we originally thought. We thought we had A and we thought we had B. But now the rest of the alphabet in all the different languages starts coming forward. And it might be overwhelming, and definitely might be, to have everything come forward and say, wow, there are infinite possibilities. But we start to see ourselves not as limited, but almost limitless. It's not going to be that I have to move forward in this way or in that way. It's like, well, how does success need to come to me? How can I connect with the spirit animals? How can I connect with my spiritual energy, with my sacral, with my solar plexus chakra, and find the balance and win in this situation? Embrace this moon to have a win-win outcome forecast for me, and know that it's time to act now. It's time to act now, and it's time to go after what I need, what I desire, how I express, and how I embrace my success. And it brings us to the moon. We have this intimate connection with the moon during this time. It's like the moon knows our deepest, darkest secrets, and the moon does. The moon, darkness, silence, night, is a time of reflection. It's a time of stepping into the self instead of being distracted by the outside world. It's a time of reflecting upon the day because, of course, the moon reflects upon the sun. So here we start to see things very openly. We start to see things very honestly. We start to face our fears, which is kind of what the heart is really saying here. It's time to face the fears. It's time to step out of the cage. It's time to be everything that we desired. Then maybe not all at once, but start slowly and steadily opening up the doors and facing what we want and looking at things differently. So the moon, we're going to find, starts to bring forward dreams that we might not have dreamt in a very long time. We start to take the fears, and they start to become our allies. And it sounds a funny thing to make fears our allies, but it's a very powerful thing. It's like, this is what I desire, this is what I want, this is what I need. And I have to conquer my fears in order to do so. And so we'll find ourselves kind of testing our limits. We'll find ourselves learning about things, trying something new and learning that, wow, that really freaked me out, or, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that type of deal. And we're never going to know unless we try. And the moon is pushing us forward to try, to make the fears that once restrained us become these kind of badges of fearlessness, of bravery, of power, of determination that inspire us. And it moves us then to embracing the very essence of us as we enter into the public arena. It's like, this is me. Loud and proud, I'm here. And it's just an acceptance. It's like, okay, I might not be exactly everything that I have ever dreamed, and I'm not at my end point. There's more that I want to achieve, and there's different ways that I want to go about things. But this is who I am. This is what I love. This is what I desire. The Hierophant in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck is the Pope. And the Pope was the person who commanded kings and queens and emperors and empresses. So here we have kind of a commanding element over the Aries sun that we're in, over this sense of just do it, just go for it. And it's like, yes, I want to just do it. I want to just go for it, but I need to be true to myself. I'm not just going to go after every whim. I'm going to kind of step back, look, plan, decide, and define. And then things start opening up in a way that we hadn't expected. We start seeing things in a new light because we're embracing our power. We're embracing our understanding. We're looking at ourselves and seeing truth instead of seeing shattered dreams and false hopes and failed starts. And this is a time where we start taking power over ourselves, where we start, guiding our truth. And our truth for us is astoundingly important. There's a stubbornness to all Taurians that if we go against who we are, it starts to eat away, and it'll steadily eat away. So just being aware of that leads us to this place of balance, leads us to this place of needing the harmony, which we see in the public arena. We see within our inner selves that we need to have this balance. We need to have this harmony. And Temperance is saying, what is it that makes things harmonious, that makes things powerful, that makes things beautiful, that has me, feeling in alignment with my world? Temperance is about the day and the night coming together, the subconscious and the conscious mind knowing each other in a powerful way. It's about harmony in relationships. It's about, excuse me, it's about looking at the truth of what we desire, and it's about claiming so much more than what we thought we could claim. There's a beauty here, there's a knowledge here, there's a knowing here that starts to change things because it has us standing in a surety. And so when we fall into balance, when the Hierophant, Taurians, embrace temperance, embrace balance, embrace harmony, embrace coming together, it leads us to see the chaos that is around the world, that is within ourselves, and to say no. But then the chaos comes back and says, well, I was started. I moved mountains. I changed the world. I am the tower. I am what cannot be conquered. And the fact of the matter is, it only feels like a tower cannot be conquered. A tower time can last 16 years or better. And a tower time has us facing the chaos. Within us, around us, has us looking at things and saying, when will it stop? When will things stop falling apart? When will life stop being chaotic? When will things be calm? Here's the thing. If we're raising our energy vibration, if we're embracing our truth, if we're living an empathic life, life is going to come at you. Most of the people here, if you found this channel, if you're part of this family, you're empathic. You want more out of life than just what everybody else is settling for. Does that mean that you're vulnerable to narcissists? Does that mean you're vulnerable to, feeling guilty about things and taking on responsibilities that aren't yours? Absolutely. Absolutely. And here we're looking at that chaos. We're looking at that doubt. We're looking at that fear. And we're saying, why is this crippling me? Why is this holding me back? Why can I encourage everybody else, but I can't encourage myself? Because we're claiming our balance here. We're tipping the scales in our favor. And we're looking at things and saying, this is what I need for my harmonious existence in the outside world. And we're going to be met with resistance. Why? Because, chaos doesn't want us to find harmony and power and truth of self. It wants us to stay in a state of chaos because then we'll have lower energy vibration. And the tower is having us look at what has been broken down and what needs to be changed. And we're looking at things and saying, this is a fear, this is a hurt, this is a pain, this was something I didn't want to live through, but I did live through it. And it didn't destroy me. It didn't break me. I am still moving forward. I'm not trapped in time. I always forget her name, and you guys always remind me, which is so sweet. You guys are the best. But it's like the person in Great Expectations who wears the old wedding dress as it rots away on her. Is that how we're going to live our lives? With the past rotting away on us? Simply determined to stay there? No. The tower has thrown us. It has hurt us, it has scarred us, it has changed the way we look at things. And we'll never go back because the pain is there. But there's a point here, and Spirit is saying, I'll be damned if I let it define my whole entire life. I let it take away the beauty and the joy and the laughter and the success that is a part of me. And so we look at the chaos and we actually start to use it as an ally, as a friend, as, yes, something that pushed us out of our comfort zone and made us face fears and doubts and heartbreaks and disappointments and terrible things, but also brought with it enlightenment and brought with it deeper knowledge and deeper understanding. And it leads us to the Four of Cups really quite beautifully, which looks over this whole entire time. And it's a gift from divinity that doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like one more burden. It feels like one more thing we have to contend with. It's overwhelming. It isn't as pretty as we want it to be. It isn't as shiny as we think gifts should be. And it's kind of very plain Jane, very... It almost seems, it's like having a golden goblet and then having a clay earthen cup. Which one are you going to gravitate towards? But what Spirit is saying here is that the water will always taste sweeter from the clay earthen cup. And that's just going to be it. We don't need the pomp and the circumstance. What we need is the genuine and the heartfelt and the true. And that's what the Four of Cups is giving us. It's giving us this beautiful power and this profound realization. And right now it might not feel like a gift, but it definitely becomes one. And this can also be something that felt like an added burden onto life. And all of a sudden we're starting to realize what a deep, harmonious treasure it really is. So let's see what Luna has to say for herself. How will Taurus be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Taurus be affected by the March 2021 full moon? Excuse me. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. How will Taurus be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Taurus be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Taurus be affected by the March 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. Ooh. And, of course, it fell on the floor. All right, so let me get your very last card for you that had to run away. Okay. All right. So we have will, focus, and nourishment. Peace, meditation, and contemplation. Nothing will come of this situation, which is going to be tricky. Okay, so that's the North Node right there. Not the North Node, I'm sorry, the Void of Course. Your dreams need a practical plan, and it's very interesting that the full moon in Taurus is crowning the Hierophant, Taurus. So you're coming through very, very strongly at crowning the self in the public arena. Work through fears and have faith in your dreams. So there's strong connection to the full moon in Scorpio. So our will during this time is going to be our focus. Our will for what we desire, what we need, what we want, that balance, that harmony, that determination is going to be our focus for our healing. And it's going to open us up. So the will focuses us to nourish ourselves, to embrace the nourishment that the world is offering, to embrace that harmony that comes forward. And it brings us to a sense of peace after chaos, after being locked in. And it brings us to needing to meditate, to contemplate, to kind of quiet out the world and surrender to the self. And nothing will come of the situation means that what we think is going to happen is not going to be what happens. There's going to be a bit of a journey that we're on, a bit of a discovery and an expression of the soul self that comes forward. And it leads us to our dreams needing a practical plan, quite honestly. In order to have our power come forward and to balance out our world, our dreams need a practical, logical plan. But we can't get so caught up in the practical that we forget to believe in ourselves. We forget to dream. We forget to be. Hard work, dedication, discipline, it goes far. What is it? If you work 10% more, you earn 40% more or something like that. And so here, there is that sense of really honing that focus and looking at what is greatly desired, what is greatly wanted, and putting in the time, the effort, and the energy. It brings us to working through our fears. It brings us to working through kind of the ropes that are tying us down, the fears that have been, shackling us and robbing our voices. And as we work through the fears, we know that it's time to release them. And we're coming very close when we get to the full moon in April on the 27th to releasing these fears, to embracing the power of the inner self. And it leads us to having faith in our dreams again, because it leads us to having faith in ourselves again. Because the full moon in Taurus states that, our dreams need a practical plan. So it's us being intrinsically connected with our dreams. And it's embracing that our dreams need to be part of our lives again, instead of, kind of mocked at childhood fancies. The subconscious Luna message is resistance. You couldn't be squashed. You're growing through, even though people have tried to stomp all over you, hurt you, disappoint you, make you angry. There's this resilience. There's this resistance to being destroyed, and it leads us to knowing that conclusions are within reach. Things are becoming clear. It's like the answers are coming. We need to be patient, yes. Do we want to be patient? Absolutely not. But it's important because the conclusions are coming and things are going to start fitting together in a way that we hadn't expected. It leads us to our subconscious chakra message, which is inner strength. And this is, again, the solar plexus chakra. So really meditating upon our solar plexus chakra, because we're breaking out of a shell. We're breaking out of hurts and pains and disappointments and angers and upsets and upheavals. And we're claiming a space within this world that's powerful and meaningful and purposeful for us. It brings us to our subconscious guidance message, which is evolve. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're evolving into what we always dreamed of being, into a being who could fly, into a person with strength and confidence and beauty above all. Beauty in the confidence of self, beauty in the extraordinary, and the evolution of the soul and what we really desire. There's a sense of becoming free. And it leads us to our subconscious tarot message, the Four of Swords, giving honor to all the hurt and all the pain that we have been through. Giving honor to everything that has made us who we are. Instead of cursing it, we are respecting it. Instead of cursing ourselves, we are respecting ourselves and honoring ourselves. All right, Taurus, I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I am sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we transform, as we stand in the power of our will and become so much more than we expected. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Taurus. And may you have a blessed moon.